Brain Candy Podcast, episode 765.
Ooh, that's fun. 4, 3, 2. Blast off.
Blast off. I don't have a blast off sound. How about...
Close enough. I heard a countdown the other day in Spanish, and it was very fun. Like, I was watching TikTok. I don't know. They were, like, doing some game, and they were doing, like, all right, 3, 2, 1, but it was in Spanish, and I was like, well, that's a fun little treat. You know,
Yeah,
like, I don't know why. It just, like, is something I would... It's almost like Paper, Scissors, Rock if somebody did that, but, like, in Spanish. I don't know what that is in another language, but very funny.
Right. It's like when you brush your teeth with your other hand, and it's like, this is new.
Yes,
Totally different
exactly.
experience.
Totally different experience.
How the heck are you?
I am doing real well. Yeah. I had like a real relaxing week and weekend. We hosted a dinner party for Eli's family at our house and like fit way more people than should be allowed in our house, which was so fun and just felt like, you know, everybody's talking over everybody and it just feels like...
It felt like family.
Yeah, it felt like family and it was really great and we like made great food and it was just fun to do that. And I don't think I've really had like a big... You know, we've had a couple people here and there, but not like, you know, 8+ people since pre-pandemic, I think. With the exception of like Thanksgiving, like that, you know, but I didn't host it. And I haven't hosted anything. I didn't have enough placemats for that. I didn't even have enough plates. I had to eat off a salad plate.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not kidding. I was like, I don't have enough plates to accommodate my guests.
Oh my gosh. This is an
eating out of Tupperware. I know.
Did you let the guests keep their shoes on?
I did not.
I am outraged.
Well, it's only because that is it wasn't asked or it was just kind of
They're
like.
trained. They already know.
Yes. Because they go to other families' homes where it's a no shoes in the house. And it makes sense because poo particles.
No, it doesn't make sense when it's a cocktail party or dinner party.
Right. That's true.
Because everybody dresses different.
Yeah, I would have said like whatevs.
Well, when I was at your house, I heard somebody ask Eli, and he said, absolutely not.
Absolutely not is what he said?
Yeah, that guy, Teak.
Oh, well, yeah, he probably
was like, hey, can I just come up in my shoes? Just like this one time, just real quick on the landing. And Eli was like, take your shoes off. And I was like, well, I zipped it.
That was also because it was muddy as fuck that week. That was the week we had the blizzard. So he's coming in with his like boots all over the place.
I know, but it demonstrated a real commitment.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. Like, you can come in with those shoes if you want to clean up the floor behind you, too.
Do you think if a lady came in and was like, hey, I wore this special outfit, can I keep my shoes on? Do you think that would change the reception of that
If you
question?
asked, he'd be like, yeah, sure, I don't care.
You think?
Yes. I know it's because the specific friend. He just likes to give his friends a hard time.
Okay, fair enough. Because if it's only like regulated for men, then I'm fine with it.
No, he said that because there was another couple that was over and she asked and... He was like, you could, I mean, it's preferred, but whatever you want. Yeah.
It's preferred.
He was open.
It's frowned upon if you come inside. Yeah. All right. Well, good to know.
How the heck are you?
I'm okay. I'm trying to think if I have good
wearing your shoes on in the house, just, you know.
Always living
yeah.
Whoa,
look at those with the docks. I like it. In all fairness, I currently am wearing mine too. My Jenny Kane slippers because
like
they're so warm.
Outdoor.
Yeah, these are versatile.
They're versatile. Yeah. Well, I did the other day have no shoes on, and I was like, I can see how people like this. It is kind of nice.
But not in the winter. My toes get cold, and I want cushiony, warm, cozy socks like the ones you got me last year for Christmas. Also, if anybody gets to see the video version of this, we should make a clip of that last part of us putting our feet up because that was very fun.
Okay. Yes. If anyone's watching this, that was funny.
And you know what?
We're very flexible.
Yeah, that's what we were just before we started recording talking about how Susie should definitely go back on the challenge. And I think she underestimates her own fitness. I mean, she is a member of the Pump Club, and I don't think a lot of those guys are members of the Pump Club. And you know, not staying consistent. And you live a healthier lifestyle than you think you do, because those guys are like staying out late, like I don't know, cutting ribbons with big old scissors and everything, probably doing like shots till who knows what time in the morning, and not getting good sleep.
Yeah, they work hard, play hard, but number one, they have
work
hot
hard,
hobbies.
sleep hard.
They have hot hobbies. They love going to the gym.
Oh, yeah, hot hobbies. Right.
But the real issue, it's not that I think I'm not fit compared to other 44-year-olds.
Got it.
It's that a lot of these people were not even alive when I was on my first show.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's kind of, the deck is stacked.
Yeah.
There's only so much trivia and puzzles that
I don't know.
Do.
I think there's always an element of you have to be a little bit wiser than the rest of the bunch to figure this out. And you are going to do that. And I really would put all my money on you.
Thank
Not
you,
just because
Sarah.
you're my
I
bestie.
appreciate
Like,
that.
I just really do think that it's fun to watch a show where the game is set up so somebody who maybe isn't that person that you'd expect wins it. And that's great.
Yeah. Well, we had watched a show on our Patreon one time. I want to say it was All Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first season of All Stars. And there was a competition 1-on-1 where there was a carabiner involved and they had to like unlatch it. And one of the ladies had trouble and she literally could not get this carabiner open. Yeah. And I was like, what kind of a jackass doesn't know how to open these things? And then Lincoln had one associated with his Halloween costume. Uh-huh. And I was stumped.
Okay. I can imagine. It's the twist and open gate.
It was twist and open, and there was something that was blocking it.
Yeah,
and
that's the self-locking one, the auto-lock ones.
I think that
you have
could
to twist and you have to push simultaneously.
And you got the adrenaline and the pressure.
Oh yeah, and that does not work in the way that a normal one. Not how you would expect. It's got like a gate.
Yeah. So I take back my judgment towards her.
And anyone who has had any form of experience with that knows exactly what to do, and it takes 0.5 seconds versus somebody who's seeing that for the first time.
Right.
That 30-second learning period that everybody who's ever used one of those has gone through would suck in a competition situation. Okay, so we got to throw all my rock climbing gear at you. We got to. This is very good because
I gotta do Sudoku.
I got you an appropriate stocking stuffer that I think will also help with this. So okay, this is good. This is good.
Yeah,
We're training here.
I need to train, is what I'm saying.
In every way,
mentally, spiritually, physically.
Yes. Oh God, spiritually. Yeah.
And perhaps culinarily. And what would help me with that is my caraway bakeware and cookware.
I had an incident.
Oh my God.
That I need to talk about because
what?
This is don't do what I did. So I was really in the mood for brownies. So I made some brownies from scratch, like 100 all the way. Legit, so good. Didn't have any parchment paper to line my pan in. Grab the only pan that I have that like is sort of the right shape. It was so old. I made the brownies. I flip them over. They get all stuck. Not only do they get stuck, but the lining of the pan comes off with the brownies. I was like, nope. Oh my fucking, and I ate one. So I was like, I'm probably dying of poison. I'm probably poisoned myself.
Gosh.
Like I didn't know that until afterwards. Then I saw how it goes, and I was like, I threw the entire batch of brownies away.
Tragedy.
What a waste of all my time, all my brownie. Had I had my non-toxic caraway pan, I would have not even, and my bakeware.
Yeah.
I said to myself,
changer.
this is what I'm getting myself, because I can't believe and I threw away the pan and I threw away the brownies.
That is, well, okay, lesson learned.
I know.
Don't dwell on it.
I know.
Just learn for next time.
I was thinking about those brownies for
I'm going to change your life because my sister was right. The frying pan.
Yeah.
It changed my entire egg life.
Oh, right.
I want to get you one for Christmas. It is
okay. I would love that.
I mean, it is life changing. It's non-stick without the chemicals. I could go on and on, but I swore I'd stop doing like 10-minute commercials. It's so good. And like, you just need some butter in there and it slides out. You know, like those ads where they slide out and you're like, that doesn't happen. Well, they do. Okay. Anyway, visit carawayhome.com/braincandy to take advantage of this limited time offer for up to 20% off your next purchase. Will make a great gift. This deal is exclusive for our listeners and won't last long. So visit carawayhome.com/braincandy. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern.
That is way more than the usual
I could do
discount.
like a spin-off podcast just about Carol. I really could. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll train for the challenge.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
Yep. Man,
Okay.
I'm stoked for you.
Yeah. I mean,
It's going to be great.
my swan song kind of deal. Oh, this is what I wanted to lead with. It's not funny really. Did you read about the pilot who was on a plane, but he wasn't flying it, and he had like a mental breakdown, and he was in the cockpit in the jump seat where they sit if they're not flying,
Yeah.
and he pulled the thing down that turns off the engines, and the pilots had to wrestle him and like get him out of the cockpit.
Oh, God.
And then they restrained him in the back because he said, you need to restrain me or something bad's going to happen. And they arrested him at the gate, and he was charged with attempted murder of 80 people because that's how many were on the plane. And he basically had done a few days prior mushrooms.
Okay, I heard about this. Mushrooms do not do that to people, especially a few days prior.
I think that it's legit.
You think maybe he took enough to like trigger something where
No, because he
like,
said he's now spoken to the New York Times, and he's been cooperative this whole time because
holy fuck.
like he was like, I don't know what's happening and I need help.
That's why I'm scared of drugs.
This is what I was going to say to you.
You see what I'm talking? People are like, oh, you should just do it. I'm like, no, I'm good.
So he's like the nicest guy in the world, and he had gone to this group. His guy friends all got together to remember somebody that they had lost. And so they were around a campfire like you would do. And they were
Right.
like, hey, do you want to try mushrooms? And he was really sad about the person that they lost, but it was over a year prior. It wasn't like recent.
Maybe not a good time to do shrooms too.
And he did feel like depressed, but because the airlines, if you get a prescription for depression, you can't fly anymore. And so all these pilots just don't admit it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a real
like-
pickle.
Oh shit.
And so he felt like he couldn't report that he was struggling, but it was like he had read about how mushrooms can help.
Right.
And for a lot of people, they do, but there are this tiny group of people for whom these mushrooms can make them lose their marbles.
Yeah.
And it was immediate in that night. And then like all the days, he's like, couldn't determine where,
Oh my
what
God.
was real.
No, I can't. That's not. Nope. Can't. I mean, I have another friend who works for I believe it's the National Suicide Awareness Association. I can't remember the actual initials, but like, it's like the big one that works with this. And she started her work there. She ended up doing a TED Talk about this too. She started her work there because she had a friend who did mushrooms and ended up dying by suicide as a result. And it led her to really devote her life to this.
Yeah.
And there are a few. I'm not rolling the dice. That is insane.
No. And
That's
so he
very
said,
different than the psychedelic treatment, low dose. What do they call it? Micro dosing.
Yeah.
That people do in a therapy office. This is, we don't know the dose. We don't know what kind. We don't know anything. And he just has it's a free for all. Oh.
well, and according to him, when he was sitting in that jump seat, he had these notions of paranoia or confusion and felt like things didn't seem real. And it kept increasing to the point where he thought he was going to pull down these levers. And then of course the plane would then begin to descend and crash. And then he would wake up. He was trying to wake himself up.
Oh!
And then, and then he did it once he was restrained. He still had some use of his hands, and he tossed coffee on himself. He was trying to wake up again.
My God. Oh my, it's like his mind was lost in that place that got opened up. Dude, that I can't. That is too, that,
It's freaky.
Yeah. What do they say? Scene and setting or something like that? With
What? Yeah, what is that? Michael Pollan?
Yeah.
What
the
is
scene, that? I mean, it's kind of like always been the phrase, but like the scene in which you do the drugs and the setting, I think it's scene and setting or something like that. Setting and yeah. What's the vibe? What's the...
There's no sort of...
What is the calm? Like, you have to have somebody like walking through that.
But he was.
Oh!
It was days before.
Right.
And he didn't have to fly for 6 days. And so he thought, okay.
6 days? That should be out of your system in 8 hours.
Right. I
That's
feel so
fucking
bad
freaky.
for him because he was obsessed with planes since he was a little boy, and now he'll never probably get to fly again. No. And it's like,
well,
all
and you know what?
Of an accident.
We need to study his brain.
Yeah.
We need to look at, and I would like put him in I would be interested to like dose him up again in a controlled environment. I know he probably wouldn't, but these are like the kind of people where if you have some if you are an outlier in what usually happens, we need to know why. And then knowing why can be some clue or answer to something else.
Okay, so then I wanted to know, like, what do you think, though, about this policy? I get it, but I don't think that there's a good solution. Why they can't be on antidepressants and stuff. Yeah,
and maybe like what about pilots who have a substance problem in the past or have a history of that, and then go through like a program? And then are they able to fly again, or do you I
don't think so.
Okay, wow. I mean, I guess this is what you'd want. You wouldn't want.
But I think it speaks to how perilous the whole situation really is, and how we're really putting our faith in these like two people.
I know. That's the part that's scary. That's the part that is terrifying.
Yeah. For not all sorts of reasons, whether it's suicide, mental breakdown, death.
Right.
Whatever happens up there.
Whatever.
And it's sort of like, wait, it feels like we need a system.
Right.
So that we're not just putting all our faith in these two regular people.
Yeah. Kind of feels like we're using robots and AI in the wrong places.
Right, but if they can't even drive taxis, I don't think I want them.
I know, that's a very good point. I mean,
but I hear what you're saying. It's like
I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah,
like it's.
I should have done like if you're afraid of flying, don't listen to this next story because that's not going to help.
I mean it was what you would call worst case scenario, and it ended up being okay. Like nobody's hurt.
Yeah, but he is still being charged with attempted murder.
Well, okay, this is another story that's like a neighbor of that.
I love that you're kind of whispery.
I know, because this is like
what? Tell me.
Creepy and ominous.
Tell me the story.
Did you hear about the hockey player that I know that died? Well, now the guy who was responsible is being charged with manslaughter.
What?
They think that there is somehow foul play, or that it was in some way like intentional, but he is that is what they're looking at.
If you're not familiar with the story, there was a hockey player who died because he was hurt by a blade on his throat. But and they didn't. I forget the wording that they used in the news, but I don't think it was like. I think it was freak accident or like a freak incident.
Right. Oh, fucking A. I can't even imagine being being there and seeing that.
So you're telling me there's
blood and snow is a bad combo. Blood and ice and water, that's just bad.
Are you saying that they think maybe that this was like a fight, that they were in a fight?
Or something, that there was some that this was, I don't know if manslaughter is premeditated, but somehow I don't know what it is, if they're looking at.
It sounds like you're there, because ice hockey is quite violent, and they fight a lot.
And that's kind of like the thing. Oh!
Well, that's hideous. I hate this
That's why
story.
I whispered it. See?
Yeah, now so no one heard it. So everything's...
I'm not ready to talk about it. I don't know all the info.
All right. Well, maybe this will lighten the mood because I'll tell you what we do want to talk about it, and that is Dipsy Stories. Am I right?
Suze.
Yeah. What do you got cooking?
I signed up because I was just like that year, like that.
It just flew by, didn't it?
No, the price of doing a full year of Dipsy was like practically free. I'm like, I have spent more on less for real. So I did not know that they were going to customize the stories in the way that they were. It is like, I feel
like you're in a relationship with Dipsy Stories.
I am. And I'm like, good night, like kiss, put my headphones on. And then I listened. It's like,
Stop.
all of my favorites, like so specific, like
Greatest hits.
somehow like we're camping with your professor. I don't even know how that like it's like that. It's like half of them are like hot for teacher and the other half are like sexy outdoors time. I'm like, I'm scrolling through their recommendations. I'm like, are they in the room
seen. Yeah.
with me right now?
Well, if you want them in the room with you right now, then you should check out Dipsy Stories. They are sexy audio stories designed by women for women. They have, hot stuff, but they also have sleepy time ones to relax and unwind.
Yes.
You can have wellness stories. Like, you know how audio works. It can soothe. It can get you worked up, whatever.
Spooky season vibes. There was a whole category of that. Extra. This one's called Picks for You. Extra credit. Lecture me. Rough and wild, dirty talk in public, off limits, flirty.
This is your best work right now.
I know. No, it's Dipsy's best work. Which,
well, for listeners of the show, Dipsy's offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/braincandy. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/braincandy. Dipsystories.com/braincandy. I cannot believe that. That is so funny.
I took screenshots because I was like, come on.
I love right. They know you better than
They
you know
really
yourself.
do. They really do. The next one's called No Talking in Class.
Oh my God, that's your kink.
I know.
It's like, let's just listen and lecture everybody. Let's learn something.
Back to learning.
Okay. So speaking of flights, I saw this literally today. There was a professional singer on a flight, and she decided that the Lord wanted her to sing it out loud.
Nope.
And
nope. That's a public space, ma'am.
And so she got into a scuffle with the flight attendant who was like, zip it. And so she said, I'm furious because the Lord told me to, and this is my gift, and how dare you?
Well, you know what? If the Lord told me to start fucking tap dancing during the middle of somebody else's, I don't know, like concert performance, I would refrain, and I would not do that there. There's a time and place.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that the Lord spoke to you, but you need to do that. Let the Lord run through you inside.
Yes.
Don't share it with the that is annoying to me.
It's so rude.
That is rude. You're going to that's actually worse than a baby crying.
Of course.
Because somehow that turns into white noise.
Well,
freaking.
Yeah, and you can't, a baby's hungry. This
Like,
lady just wants attention.
Oh.
It's so rude.
I really don't like her.
And it was gospel.
Don't you dare put this on the Lord.
Yeah, don't blame Jesus, ma'am.
Because I know a lot of very sane, Jesus-loving people who are like, still have common courtesy.
It's so inconsiderate. She is Grammy nominated. Does that matter? But it's with like a whole group.
No,
it's like
that doesn't matter.
Even more than Earth, Wind, and Fire, like a choir.
No, I can't.
I know, I'm mad about it.
Because, like, don't you think that the people who get up and disrupt the whole flight for any reason, like the same as like that woman who's like, that man back there is make-believe. I don't, who thought there was like a fake guy on the plane.
Weird.
That's like, you're disrupting even with,
well, yeah,
I also would like to know, everybody to know, I feel the exact same way about flight attendants who think it's hilarious to do their comedy bit as we land.
Yeah.
No.
We're talking to you, Southwest.
No. Yes. Stop it. I don't want to hear it sung. I barely want to hear it. It's already on the card. Let's just go through the motions. We all know what we're doing here. Am I am I like Scroogey? Like,
no, I love it. I love what you're saying right now. I'm really rubbing off on you.
I do not know whose situation has ever been improved because of this stuff.
That is so true. That's why I hated flash mobs, and that is also why I hate performers on the subway.
Well,
Sarah likes that. That's
no, I don't like performers on the subway because I feel trapped, but I do like flash mobs.
Okay, well, it's a fine line. I can
it's
leave
the
it at the
trapped
subway.
Thing.
I'll leave it at the subway.
Yeah, and you know what?
Because you can't
trapped
walk
on
away
a plane.
from a flash mob. Yeah,
right.
You're right.
You could be like, "This is nuts. I'm going to the side of the park." You know,
I just don't like to be assaulted with entertainment.
Yeah,
it's too much for me. Like, come on, we're all just getting through this. You know how they say it's like the journey, not the destination? That is not true when you're flying or on the subway. It's not
totally
the journey.
True. It's the destination. So zip it.
Yeah, because I just read in the New York Times this article about how people do not know how to behave on the subway anymore since the pandemic. And they're just like, I don't even think it's relegated to the subway. I just think people don't know how to be people anymore.
Right, that's true.
And I don't love it.
No, me neither.
My least favorite trait in a human being is inconsideration. Mm-hmm. Thanks for listening. Yeah. Sarah, you're so nice.
I'm just trying to think if there was like another example of this that I saw recently, and I was like, we've done this before. What are we doing? Oh! I have something to report. I had to almost get in a fight this weekend.
What? I'm already putting this aside for TikTok. Tell me everything.
I went to go see Hassan Minaj, and it was so good. So good. Great. So freaking good. He addressed everything that people are like all up about. I cannot wait to hear
how you almost got in a fight.
Okay.
This is like when I went to banjo night. This is great.
In our seats, this is a show where they've taken away the phones. Like, they're all in bags. Everybody's like, you're paid. I love that. We're all like, here.
Yeah, you love it.
These clowns behind me, like, it was like two drunk girls and their boyfriends, could not stop talking. And so everybody in our group has done the courteous
the side
turn around and now give them the look.
Yeah.
I did it. Everybody said Eli did it. And then I lean over to Eli. Eli, look at them again because they're not getting the message. So Eli turns around and does big, like, what the heck hands.
Good. What the heck hands. Yes.
He did that. And when, like, did the, excuse me.
What are we doing here?
Head move that we all know. You don't even have to see the video to know exactly what I'm talking about here. They still didn't stop talking because they were drunk or something.
Right.
I couldn't take it anymore. I turned around and I was like, you have to stop talking. You absolutely. And then they looked at me like crazy. I was like, stop it. And then they were like, what? I'm like, stop talking. I said it just like that. And then I turned around and I carried on. We finished the rest of the 15-minute show. And don't you know, they like hung out and lingered and waited.
Shut
up. And I was like, oh, let them. They are so fucking lucky that he decided to do like an extra 5 minutes. So we were all just standing there looking, because if they wanted to confront me, they are messing with the wrong person. Because I'll do exactly what I will just ask questions. And there's nothing more disarming than when somebody who wants to get in a fight with you can't answer questions. You're like,
I did not think that's what you were going to say. I will ask them several
questions.
What were the questions?
Why do you think I should pay this much money to hear you talk instead of him?
Yeah. How dare you?
Why did I pay to hear you guys, or did I pay to hear him? Just answer me that. Okay. The answer is him. Okay. So who do you think I would like to hear, him or you? Mm-hmm. And another question. What do you think he would come down and say to you right now? Whose side do you think he would be on? The performer.
Why did they pay for the tickets? That's the real question. If you don't want to hear his comedy, why are you there?
Fuck off. And everybody in my group was like, please,
it's so great.
Please. Oh, some drunk little white girls. I am about to bury you. But I didn't have to. So.
In the words of Sylvester Stallone and Mr. T, I pity the fool.
Oh, pity.
Pity.
I would have murdered them.
Okay,
I would definitely manslaughter. Yeah. Guilty.
I do want manslaughter.
Murder
I do
them
want
with
to
my
know, because when we went to the Chelsea Handler show, there was a heckler. And the first couple times she riffed with him, like engaged it. But then it obviously gets to a point where it's too much and it's disruptive and it's not about you, sir.
Right.
And so it kept escalating. The security had to come and she kept giving him one more chance and all that. And I just kept in my mind psychoanalyzing him of like, what is the thing with hecklers? What is the psychological thing?
Yeah. I wish these guys were, I don't wish they were hecklers. Hecklers, I would have been like, easy to just be like,
well, because everyone would gang up on them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. This was just...
It was just for you.
Chit chat, just get chipper jabber. Like, incessant, like nonstop. Like, and nobody around could pay attention because we were all hearing like...
It's so
and
disruptive.
I have to choose which one to listen to. And I was like, my ADHD, I told Eli, I was like, it is too late in the evening and I am too unmedicated to be able to choose who to pay attention to right now. And I am this close to turning around and saying something. And then they kept going, I'm doing it. I can't take it anymore.
How did you avoid like the big confrontation? They just got impatient and left?
Well, so there was this really sweet moment where Hassan had gone through his... Instagram or looked at his mentions on Twitter and saw that some woman had tweeted like, hey, my husband just like cheated on me and left me and I have 4 extra tickets to like in the second row, any takers, and nobody replied. And so at the end he was like, hey, don't think I don't check all of my mentions. Is there somebody in the audience named Sarah? And at first I was like, what?
Oh my God, done? Right.
I got all panicky. And then he looked at me and gave me eyes like this. And I was like, don't do that. That's not real. And then I was like, oh, no, it's not for me. But then I'm like, am I a narcissist that I thought for a second when you said, is there Sarah in the audience?
Anyone here named Sarah. There's a room full of probably white people. Yeah. Somebody's named Sarah.
Not all white. It was basically like everybody who's diverse in all of Denver was there.
Okay. Well,
which is very nice.
A lot of Sarahs.
It was such a beautiful scene. But yes, you're right. Definitely a lot of Sarah. So I was like, what's happening? And then he's like, I read this tweet, and he read the tweet and he's like, did anybody show up? And nobody showed up. So he was like, that guy's an asshole. And we were all cheering for Sarah. And he like did a whole little bit about how like Sarah probably a keeper because she got second row seats and those aren't cheap. So who wants to go to date with Sarah? And it was like, he did that whole little bit and like gave her like backstage passes and everything.
She was there.
And And he was like, I was looking for you the whole time because I wanted to talk to you. And then I got so worried because I saw these empty seats and thought maybe you didn't show up. And so it was this whole moment. And thank goodness for that sweet moment for those other gals, because had that not happened, this Sarah would have given everybody else another show.
A different kind of show.
Yeah.
Well, another sweet moment is anytime I do laundry, thanks to Laundry Sauce, outstanding. I have to tell you, I was thinking about this the other day because, as you know, it's powder season, a.k.a. winter, and I am struck every year by how much more there is in my laundry hamper because of the layers and the bulk.
And the sweat, just like you're going through stuff faster.
Well, and just think about what you wear in the summer. It's skimpy and small.
Right.
Compared to winter, it's like 50 layers, at least for me.
Yeah.
And hoodies and sweaters. And I'm like, I'm not in the mood. But then I get to use Laundry Sauce and it smells so great. And I'm like, okay, this is actually therapeutic.
It's the best. Yes.
It makes it into a ritual.
We were just watching a ultimate frisbee game for Eli's nephew, and we're like all huddled under our blankets, and one of them I had just washed with the sandalwood scent that I just got, and Eli's sister Jenny was like, oh, this smells so good, is this the sandalwood? Then she told me she's been using Laundry Sauce forever, and she tells me the scent she has. She's like, patchouli is amazing. I was like, what? You've been using this brand too, and we haven't even talked about this? So, and she's like, knows all the good stuff, and like has all the best things.
Yeah, this is really nice stuff.
I was like, I'm super cool because I'm using the same stuff.
Remember, when you smell your best, look your best, and feel your best, you're ready to take on the rest. So head to laundrysauce.com/braincandy and use promo code braincandy at checkout for 15% off. That's the best offer you'll find, but you must use our code braincandy for 15% off your order. One last time, that's laundrysauce.com/braincandy, promo code braincandy for 15% off.
Yeah. It smells so good.
Okay, well, if that would have happened when I was with you, it would have been...
Oh, it would have been game on.
Shenanigans.
And two of us? The funny thing is if it were the two of us, I wouldn't have been the one who turned around. You would have already done that 5 minutes ago.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I'll tell
and then
you
it would have been 2 against 1. Well, 2 on 2. Which is really like 10 on 2 with us. So.
Right. Well, another thing that has me annoyed since we're just like airing grievances.
Yeah, let's just fucking do that.
Tell me what you think. I have had it with the viral Thanksgiving odd couple of the old white lady and the young black lady. She accidentally texted him. Now they have Thanksgiving. Shut up about it.
That is so funny because I saw this and I was like, oh, we're still doing this? We should like... It should not
be
like
that remarkable.
That is the thing. That is the biggest problem is that we find these sorts of like lady. Hook our like, you know.
I've had it.
Yeah, it's like 12 years of this.
Yeah. Okay. A white lady accidentally texted a black kid and invited him to Thanksgiving, and then he came. Isn't that crazy that a black kid would come to a white lady?
It has white savior kind of like written all over it. And anybody who has ever had any Thanksgiving meal by a non-white family knows that white Thanksgiving is flavorless and terrible anyway. Like,
it's very blindside. It's very like
that's the vibes I'm getting is blindside vibes. And it does feel like that, where it's like a bunch of white people are like, oh, look at all this. Meanwhile, they're doing nothing. Like, they're like liking that as they like step over the homeless, housing insecure people on the street in front of them. Like,
well, and I just feel like, okay, year 1, oh, that's funny. Year 2, oh, good for them. The end. Right. I've heard enough.
And if this is the thing that saves us, that like brings us hope and together, like we gotta re-examine. We gotta like look like. Yeah.
How about you let me know if you ever stop doing it? Okay, if there's a falling out, if he gets married and then that's it, she'll probably be at his wedding. I don't want to hear about them anymore.
Right.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. The one I don't mind, you can keep telling me all about the good things, is I will never get tired of hearing how Dolly Parton sends everybody books.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that we could just keep talking about.
Just Dolly in general.
Yeah.
I'm all
forever.
For it. Do you think she's a lesbian?
Most of my favorite women through history have been, so...
So, if that's the evidence.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right. Just checking.
I was just listening to Cardi B, one of my favorites, give a whole lecture on how much she loves Eleanor Roosevelt and FDR and like the history of that, and how her talking about how Eleanor Roosevelt is like a bad bitch who needed her own place, and she had a really like a mother-in-law that was like wanted to be around all the time, and she just needed her own space, and how Cardi B's kind of like, it is very funny. I think it's on that show where the celebrities eat the hot wings, and
hot ones.
I think it's on that, and she was just. So good. America's sweetheart. That's what Eli and I call her.
True. I mean, she is.
She is. We call her. We're like, oh, America's sweetheart. Eli is like the biggest fan.
Sarah's doing that thing where I agree with her, but it seems like
but then I yell at her. Right. Yes. Why do I do that?
If you're wondering why I asked Sarah that, though, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that points to what in the world.
Susie's reacting to the new overlays that Apple has now. I also heard that if you do this sign, do 2 rock and roll signs up. Yeah.
Nothing. It's always when I don't want it.
It's always when you don't want it. That's supposed to send like laser beams out and shit. Like really, it's supposed to be like like laser beams.
I put up 2 fingers and it showed balloons going up like it was my birthday.
And if you like do 2 fingers, it's supposed to be fireworks. I looked this all up the other day when we were talking about this.
It'd be great if it actually worked.
Right, it doesn't. So
anyway, there's circumstantial evidence that points to Dolly being
right
gay because she has that best friend since kindergarten, and her husband is like Carl. He's basically like George Class. Anyway, who knows? But on the other hand, you'd think she would admit it because she loves the gays.
Right.
So that's what confuses
I think
everybody.
she's more like almost like asexual. Like Dolly is like just Dolly. And that is,
cool. I'm fine with that.
you know, whereas like sometimes I feel like you're one of those humans who's just bigger than everything. I'm pretty sure my grandma was a lesbian too.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure. She had like the female best friend for forever. And then when her female best friend passed away, she was way more upset than when her husband died.
This sounds like me and you, though.
I know. That's what I was just about to say. I'm like, same could probably go for us, though.
Wait a minute.
You know, I'll be sad for her. Don't worry.
Okay, let's move on.
That's funny.
Okay, so you know the comedian Albert Brooks?
Yes. Oh, I saw the like trailer screen, whatever thing for his new documentary that's out, and immediately thought of you. So I was like, oh, I don't have to look at the trailer. Susie will update me tomorrow.
Yes, on it. Sue's reviews for, it's called Defending His Life, Albert Brooks, because he was in a movie called Defending My Life. And he, you know how he's the brother of Bob Einstein on Curb? The guy with that weird voice, and he talks like that.
And I did not know that.
Yeah, so Albert Brooks' real name is Albert Einstein.
Stop it right now!
Mm-hmm. But he was like sick of talking about it, so he changed it to Albert Brooks, because you can imagine what that would be like.
I can imagine. Al Brooks or no, it doesn't work any way you do it.
In his yearbook it said Al Einstein.
It doesn't work any way. It actually sounds like you're being an asshole.
Yeah. Well, he's like, my mother, you know, they're Jewish. And he's like, my mother wouldn't waste anything. She's not going to waste Albert Einstein. Right. But it was made by Rob Reiner, and Rob was like, your mother had 4 sons, and you're the 4th. Like, she waited. She didn't name the first one Albert Einstein, and that is funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was great. I only bring it up because it's like there wasn't a lot to say. I loved it, but there's not a lot to say on Brain Candy except for this one part that I wanted to mention, which is that so first of all, they talked about their high school class, which is where they met. Rob Reiner was in there, son of Carl Reiner. Albert Brooks is the son of Harry Einstein, who was a famous comedic performer. Melinda Marks, Groucho Marx' daughter, was in there. Joey Bishop's son. All these like celebrity kids were in there. But anyway, they were talking about how their dads were these legends in entertainment, and they were geniuses. And even this film is that. It's like a bunch of like male comedians talking about how great Albert Brooks is, which is annoying. Right. But they, for just a moment, were like, yeah, so your mom was a singer. That's how she met your dad. And Rob Reiner was like, my mom was a singer, and that's how they met. They were all performers, and their moms like quit performing to have these kids. And it was the first time in a movie like this that I ever heard them acknowledge that like their moms probably resented them a little bit. And like,
wow.
Because Albert was talking about how he was on the Tonight Show 30 times with Johnny Carson. Wow. And that every time he was like waiting for his mom to like be impressed, and he would have to call her, and he would say, yeah, so I was on the Tonight Show. How did I do? And she was like, yeah. How did Johnny say you did? What did Johnny think? And like would never be like, you were amazing. But he said now he's made peace that she probably had like a little bit of contempt for her kids because she could never be. So if you are thinking about maybe becoming a mom yourself or avoiding becoming a mom, maybe you would enjoy Modern Fertility.
It is so important to have that information, and Modern Fertility makes it easier than ever.
My gosh, it's the best. Because like, don't you feel like the female anatomy, not just to idiot boys, but to all of us, is a little bit mysterious?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always like, what's happening in there? Do I have eggs? Am I fertile?
Right.
What's
I need that.
going on?
You got to be testing that on the rig so that I can like come prepared. I know what I'm dealing with here.
Here's how it works. It's so easy. You do the test right at home. You send it off, and within a couple of days, you get the results, and you find out if you have any red flags or if you have eggs. Just give you all the information you need to make informed choices about your body. and at a fraction of the price that you would pay in a doctor's office. Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. That means your test will cost $159 only, which is a fraction of what it would cost at a fertility clinic. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, modernfertility.com/braincandy.
Susie, that cost doesn't even cover my copay.
Exactly.
For just the visit. I know this because I just did this.
Right. And I think anybody that's in your shoes is like, obviously, but sometimes you don't know.
And I have the gold insurance. It's not even I have the crappy insurance. I have the good one.
Yeah. This is a no-brainer, and it's so fun to find out what is happening in your body. So do it.
What if there was something like you and I were just getting started and doing our thing, and then you had Lincoln, and then you had to leave doing a podcast, and then he went on to like be one of the greatest podcast hosts that everybody cheers on? You would be like,
yeah, like part of you would be proud.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure there's always like a void where you just, it's a what if,
right? And it's not a, I want less for my child, or I'm not excited about my child. It's like, I could imagine that it would be a, like you said, like a what if, and a little bit of that feeling like it's not ever equal. Like the things that you've sacrificed and the things that, and the credit you get for that sacrifice, maybe, or the like what comes from that,
especially
like only helps other people.
Yeah, and like that time, that's just what it all was, and we still see it. You know, like that's why I think Betty White was such an aberration.
Yeah,
well, she didn't have kids,
right?
And so she was able to carry on that career. And you see what happens. We created a legend,
right?
Well, all those women could have been like their husbands, but they had to stop.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
Sometimes when I hear like, oh, she was a dancer, that to me sounds like a talented woman who was then thrown into the, like, I bet women who were like the backup, like side, you know, like on the sidelines were amazing for that time. They were like, oh yeah, you know, I got to just like tap dance here and there, but it gets me in the same room with these people where I get to, you know.
Yeah, the gatekeepers were.
Yeah. And I bet they had some real untapped talent that they were just kind of waiting on the wings, hoping. And this is the job that the men threw them into. When they saw, oh, talented woman, great. You can do these hands in the background.
Right, back and forth.
Back and forth, windshield wiper hands that like every woman in the 40s seemed to do.
Right.
Background.
I was glad they even mentioned it because, to be honest, that's never usually considered.
Yeah.
So I loved it though. If you like comedy, you probably would love it.
And I did love that like his real heyday when he was in, I loved the movie Muse with Sharon Stone that he did where it's like such a sleeper and weird one that I don't even know. It probably wouldn't stand up today, but I just loved so many things that he was in that time period. It was like early mid 90s.
Mm-hmm. That was your era.
I loved all the movies made then, and they were offensively not diverse, offensively patriarchal, like offensively. Like listen, I watch them now and I'm like,
Cheers.
wow, that is, I'm actually offended, and I am a white woman. Like, this is not good. This is
so noticeable.
It's so noticeable. Mm-hmm. So I want to say that, you know, for that time. But I do love, it's like Multiplicity, all those kind of movies. I fucking love them.
Okay. Moving on. Oh, okay. You ever, maybe this only happens to me. You ever get like, watch 4 episodes of a docuseries about someone you'd never heard of?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
That's not true. I have heard of him, but I watched the docuseries on Netflix about Robbie Williams, who was in Take That, the band.
Whoa.
Now it's time.
Hang on a sec. You are going to sell Robbie Williams to me as the guy who was in Take That, not the international pop star who had his own, like...
Well, no, I mean, that's how he started.
Okay, I see. You're like talking about the origin story. Okay, because I was like, is that what you know him for? Because that's like saying I know, what's his name for Menudo? Ricky Martin. That's like, right, oh yeah, Ricky Martin from Menudo? Well, no, yeah. Ricky Martin from Ricky Martin.
Okay, I get it, but I mean, how many songs are you like a super fan?
No, but I think Robbie? I know what I think. I actually think I probably am. It's one of those where I Robbie Williams was very big when I was living in England. And so I think I just, that's the music that's playing in the background.
Yeah.
That I happen to know a lot of Robbie Williams songs. Like, what's the one he did where he's dressed up in a bunch of the different, and some of them I actually think are really good. He did
Millennium.
Yes. Love that song. Rock DJ. Yep.
Angels was a real big hit.
I don't want to rock.
Okay,
DJ.
The point here is... The point here is that I watched it and I really liked it. And the reason is because he joined Take That when he was only 16. Mm-hmm. And they were sort of like Backstreet Boys or something, like that kind of popular in England. And then he resented another member, so he quit. And then he was like, went solo and he got even more famous, but then the country sort of hated him too because he broke up Take That. Oh. And I almost felt like if in 20 years they did a documentary about Justin Bieber, it would kind of feel like this, where it's like he was seen as like an arrogant brat who was like ungrateful, and, but he was so super successful and like a sex symbol and all that stuff. But the takeaway for me was, okay, especially if you maybe have like mental health concerns or whatever, difficult childhood or something like that. If you are standing on a stage in a stadium and 80,000 people are screaming back at you, it will fuck you up.
Yep. Yep.
It is not healthy.
Also, what you can lump into that category too is if you're doing the same thing and 800,000 people are staring at you on a television screen.
Right.
Both of it, more eyes than
it's not
any
natural.
Human should be. It will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Somebody's paying their therapist. So there's a therapist getting paid. I don't know, you like whatever version of like fuck you up is, it's different for everybody, but there's a therapist involved.
It's just not natural.
Right. That is 100% it. It's Dunbar's law that says about how many people we should be viewed and critiqued and judged by in a way. Mm-hmm. And after like 100, it is very detrimental to the person.
It was really compelling to watch though, because they had been following him for like 30 years. And then they were showing current day Robbie Williams, the footage, and then getting his reaction to it.
Wow.
And so it was interesting to hear him describe, like, you're going to see me have a panic attack here on stage, like, and have him describe what he felt that nobody knew.
Oh, this is like a documentary version of Things We Got Wrong.
It is.
We know all about this. We created a spin-off show of this.
Yeah, and it's like,
and that's hard to
kind of re-triggering.
Yeah, that's hard to let's think back. Just that last episode we did, and I was like, wow, that was Lonely Sarah. I can't believe how sad and depressed I was, and that's you hearing it. And we unpacked that. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, granted, most people aren't going to sit through 4 episodes if they're not like a big Robbie Williams fan, but I really thought it was good and interesting just from the fame point of view, and how, like, that can really damage you. You have to have a real firm foundation or something. Like Taylor Swift, I don't know how she's
parenting. I think she's got good mom. I think it's the parent stuff. It's the same way. I feel the same for Beyonce. I feel the same for Serena and Venus Williams.
Anywhere.
I feel right.
How does that work?
Bad.
It's not
bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I recently went down a rabbit hole of following of Madonna. and her.
What did you learn?
How much I love Madonna, but she is again, like it's like beyond. It's the same as like Dolly Parton, where it's like you're a different thing. You're like when she walks in the room and like kicks over the mic stand, just like hypothetically, and says like, because I'm fucking Madonna, I'm like, yep, that's a good enough argument for me. That'll work. That'll do. And and like the standard. And then I saw clips of her show, and in I don't know what I was thinking, but it was like I wanted something in the middle for Lauryn Hill and the Fugees. Like I was expecting like this is just the artists who have been around for a long time, who are like dedicated to creating and a bunch of music. And so after watching Madonna stuff, I was like, fuck, she's good. She is a legend. Like she's still bringing it in the same way that.
Yeah.
I think I want to get tickets to her tour.
Oh, I bet it would be super fun.
Right. I think I'm going to, she's not coming here. So I think I'm going to come to Pittsburgh and
oh
do
my
that.
God. Yes.
Right? To see Madonna. I feel like we have to. It's going to be like.
This is exciting.
I know.
I was thinking about going.
I think we should do it. I think it feels like once in a lifetime, like we have to do this.
Right.
And we missed out on Beyonce. Come on.
She missed out on us, is what actually happened.
Yes.
I'll tell you what else is legendary, and that is Pear Eyewear and how cute their glasses are.
Yes.
And all the different snap-on magnetic toppers you can do to change them up.
'Tis the season for whimsy.
It's whimsy time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. You can have even sunglass ones, but you could have colors. You could have patterns. You could have spice things up.
I'm actually kind of jealous I don't have a daily prescription, because
I think about that too.
When I see you guys, and then I like Pear Eyewear is like advertising to me all the time, and I just see people like pop them on, and I'm like, man,
it just has their little sunglasses.
Yeah, that looks cool.
I mean, I wish I could see, so I guess we both have something we want.
We all want, right?
But it makes it so easy. You just go online and do the digital try-on, so you can see what frame you want, like the base frame, and then you can pick out all the styles to pop on, or the sunglasses or whatever. It's festive.
Yes.
Make every look merry with Pear Eyewear. Take advantage of Pear's holiday sale. Go to paireyewear.com and use code HOLIDAY20 for 20% off your first pair. And be sure to mention that Brain Candy Podcast sent you in the post-checkout survey. You know we love that.
Yes, we do.
That's Pear, P-A-I-R, P-A-I-R, eyewear.com. Code HOLIDAY20, HOLIDAY20.
HOLIDAY20, there you go. Yes.
Did something happen?
Yep. Robbie Williams started playing on my phone.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I just saw you react.
Yeah, I picked up my phone, and then I must have hit a play button because I was like looking at Robbie Williams songs, and so it started doing that, and I freaked out.
I forgive you.
Thanks.
I have a fun fact.
Oh, I love a fun fact.
Campbell's Soup says that 50% of annual sales of cream of mushroom soup take place between November and January as the critical adhesive in the kinds of recipes that are said to stick to your ribs.
That is totally true. Thanksgiving casserole.
Basically, yeah.
You want green bean casserole?
Green bean casserole. Yeah.
You need it for all the stuff.
I think that's so funny though. 50%.
I totally understand. That's actually a fun. I like facts like that.
Yeah.
And I love seeing the spikes or changes. And the other big one that so many companies is a Super Bowl Sunday. Like the amount of.
What do people buy? Wings?
Yeah, like chips and all those things. Like, yeah, we eat them during the rest of the year, but then the amount that's consumed that day of things like Velveeta cheese is insane. And it's like, because when else are you making that? Like, everybody's making that same chili dip, And
it's delicious.
I know. It's so good. I can't wait. So my friend Jessie, shout out to Jessie, makes that for me this year.
It does beg the question, though, because I really like the green bean casserole, but it is literally the one day a year I eat it. Why?
Right. Like,
Why?
Is it even good? Well, same with a lot of that stuff. Like, we don't make
Definitely
it.
turkey.
But I think that's why it's special, is because
it's associated with
the one day a year thing. That
yeah. What's your favorite dish? Let me see if I can guess, because I'm sure I've asked you this
we've
several
definitely-
years.
Yeah, I think I know yours.
It's stuffing?
Yeah, yours is stuffing.
Yes, it is.
I know this.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because I know because I think what we found is that stuffing and dressing are different, and
Yeah.
I feel like you like yours different than I like mine.
Well, that's probably true, because
Yeah.
I like mine white trash, which
And I
is
like-
just stovetop.
Yeah, and I like it really wet. Like I want it.
I like wet.
Okay, good. Then we're the same. Like
But
that.
you make yours from scratch. and
No!
mine is
No.
yours is stovetop?
Mine is not stovetop, but it's the Mrs. Cubbins.
Mrs.
I feel like that's the name of it. I swear to God, it's something like that. You're laughing, but I'm so fucking close. It's gonna be. Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
I want it to be that so bad. If it, I want Cubbinsons. I'm so close, Mrs. Cubbinsons. And come on.
Is this regional?
Yes. No. I mean, no. Look. Let me show you the images. You know what this is.
Cubinson.
Mrs. Cubbinsons.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yep.
That looks like Stofers.
No, this is Mrs. Cubbinsons.
My God. Hey, Google and see if that is regional, Sarah.
Okay. Mrs. Cubbinsons.
Because that is a hoot.
Okay, well, should I do East Coast? Question mark?
Or no, because it would be West Coast.
Like, okay, is Miss Cubbinson's regional?
What is wrong with me? Why haven't I heard of it? It's so funny.
But I really do think that this is no, it's not. It's available nationwide.
Shut up.
Nationwide.
What are the other products that they make?
Osceola ciabatta croutons. They do a lot of croutons. They do
this
Caesar
must be
salad
rich
croutons.
people. This is rich
like
people food.
I feel like this is the step. This is one.
Right.
This is like stovetop. Mrs.
It's like
Cubbins,
Pepperidge Farms or something. This is rich people food.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
This is Keebler versus Pepperidge Farms.
Totally. Gosh,
That's what this is.
that is embarrassing.
They just put it too high on the shelf. You're supposed to just look right past it.
Yeah, we're all hunched over, sad with shame from poverty.
And my family's just pretending, putting themselves into more and more debt.
Mrs. Cubbinson's aspirational stuffing. Wow.
This is very funny. I think people are going to
try
relate
it.
to this. Oh yeah, it's very good. And it's the same step. It's the same. It's the same process.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same. It's stovetop. It's essentially stovetop too. They just didn't call it that. They just
Do you
labeled
think it
it
tastes the same?
I think it tastes better. I think it tastes
God.
less.
I'm ordering it. Pack of 4
Okay.
again.
Here's you know how regular ramen tastes versus cup, which I recently realized was just cup noodles I thought it was cup of noodles.
That is cup O.
I thought so
Cup-o
too,
noodle.
but it's just cup noodles.
Really?
Yeah, because they just came out with a microwavable container, and then I was like, what? It hasn't been microwavable? And yeah, it's like cup noodles.
They thought people were making that on the stovetop?
Yeah, it's cup noodles, and I've always been saying cup of noodles.
Wow. That is shocking.
Yes, my dad did a cup noodles commercial when I was a kid.
He
And
did
the
like set
tagline
design?
was "Cup noodles by Nissan," and it said it like that. And I would have
He
as
was
like
the voice actor?
no, he didn't do that. He did the set design for that.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like a stop clay animation one
that's
of a
great.
caveman that was really cool.
Man.
And we got to see all of them, and they were like this big, but on TV they look huge, and it's really cool. And
That's why you could afford Mrs. Cubbins's.
yes, correct, because he was doing some commercials for
Yeah, my dad just worked overtime on the Aliquippa shift at the Port Authority. Oh my God.
funny, but yeah, I had that tagline stuck in my head for years. Like I see as a kid with OCD. Why?
So they said cup noodles?
cup noodles. It was like cup of noodles. That's what it sounded. It was like basically like the
It sounded
American
cuppa.
commercial, but it was a guy with a heavy Japanese accent.
Hey,
saying it.
Andrea, editor, if you're listening,
Yeah, find that
can you find that clip of somebody saying cup noodles
by Nissan.
by Nissan?
Yes, it's
And-
going to sound just like that.
Cup noodle, Nissin.
Okay, let me
I bet
tell
I
you
can
one
even
more
find that
thing.
commercial. Yeah.
before we go. This has been hilarious to me, though. I don't know why. Oh, should we like take it down a notch? Be
Sure, why not?
sad or?
Listen, we can put we
All right,
we
I'll
put
keep
a
it light.
happy
I'll keep
sort
it
of
light.
light spin on somebody getting murdered with a hockey blade. So
Did you read this story? I saw it on BBC. It was about the scientists figured out how they made the Sphinxes.
oh no,
It was so interesting.
what?
So, you know those Sphinxes with those
Yes,
heads?
yes.
And then they're like half like kind of like a
Yeah,
like an animal. What is
Yeah,
it? A lion?
like a
or
lion.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were trying to figure out what the devil these guys did. Like, were they fucking chiseling for ages or what? And so they simulated in this like tiny little room or something. This is probably all wrong. It was like drunk history. The weather conditions of the time to see if it was like partially being created by the weather. And it turns out it was. So
what? Oh, you mean like hardening the rock, like the sand or something?
the sand
Whatever the clay
was
mixture is?
being like blown by the wind in such a way that it creates this sort of kind of looks like an animal laying down. I'm going to text you this picture.
Get out! You mean to tell me that they harness the power of nature to create those sculptures?
Yeah, wait till you see this picture I just sent you. Okay.
This feels like we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Ancient Egypt had everything right.
Here's what I feel like. It was like the Chat GPT of ancient Egypt where they were like just doing the least. It's like semi-homemade.
Wait.
It's semi-homemade.
Stop it.
They basically just put a nose. They put a smiley face on it and called it a day.
So like, but I feel like the opposite. I'm like, whatever artist were able to identify the patterns and flow of the fucking wind to get it to carve a statue.
But they didn't get it to. It just did it. It just happened, and then they would finish the job. They'd be like, that kind of look kind of like we do with clouds. Like, that looks like a lion.
Okay. I see what happened. So they basically said, oh, look at
That mound.
yeah, I don't know, laying down woman's face peak over there.
Yeah.
And then they went in and chiseled out the places to
details.
see.
Working smarter, not harder, is what they did.
I kind of like that.
I love it.
I had this thought this morning when I was like deep in TikTok and looking at all the Christmas decorations.
Oh.
And I was thinking about the amount of trash and like the amount of waste of just of seasonal decorations of waste. And how if you look at, you know how you love the uncontacted people and you look at old, like just civilizations, tribes, whatever it is,
Yeah.
they utilized nature for their crafts and for their art, because of limited supplies and materials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Used what you had to have.
sometimes not having the materials to create whatever the fuck we wanted and be wasteful actually has an advantage that we will not have all of that waste. And I in my mind in that moment saw this like flash of the future where like 200 years from now, we are looking at watching TikToks or whatever version of that we're doing, where it's how to make Christmas ornaments from, or how to make decorations from like what you have on the ground, because I don't understand how we can continue as a civilization continuously making this much waste and this much trash.
Well, we can't.
I watched this show Silo, which I highly recommend on HBO. It's based off of a novel, a series.
Did you say silo?
Yeah, it's called, I believe it's called The Silo.
Okay.
And it's this like post-apocalyptic future world. Like they live in this silo and nobody knows how they got there or what happens and all that. And in that, you cannot create or make anything that can't be reused. And there's this like big, like everybody throws all their trash or their stuff into this big like recycling center where then it gets sorted through, broken down, turned into other things. Everything gets reused. It's like, it's all, and I feel like there's no future in which that isn't what we by necessity have to do. And so, yeah, I had that whole thought about Christmas decorations and waste.
Why do you feel like it? Do you feel like it hits you more about decorations than like other stuff, clothes or something?
I mean, it hits me about everything, but like there's this, you know, I like to, well, what started me on this idea is I saw this TikTok that was a woman who took a tube of tomato paste and cut off the top and then cut it down the middle and cleaned it out. And the inside of tomato paste is gold, is like that
Toothpaste.
gold
Tomato
paste. You know, like the metal tubes of it that you squeeze out.
Yeah.
So all those metal tubes that are like aluminum, you cut those. The inside of those are like gold or silver or brass. So she cut them into strips and then folded them up and made little bows and then made a garland of bows. And I was like, oh my God, that looks so adorable. What the fuck? We're so wasteful. And I was just thinking about like wanting just like anything that, and I looked around at like the Halloween decorations that I have up, and they're all things that I made from like leftover shit and like stuff.
I was going to say, you're already good at this.
Yeah, and I like doing that, but we are in this weird time where there are so much of this like Pinteresty social media world of like, make it look like this, make it visually so appealing for like 2 seconds. And you can't have it both ways. You can't have that visually perfect world and not be like wasteful in some way. So I like and appreciate people who are achieving that through non-wasteful means.
Yeah.
And so I want to be more conscientious and aware of the ways. Like the thing that I've totally given up, but it was one of my favorite things for forever, are balloon garlands. I love a balloon garland. I think it looks so cool. But the idea of like I watched an episode of Below Deck where I saw them do all this decorating, and then they took everything and shoved it into the trash. And it was like one night, and the guests like got drunk and didn't even enjoy it and weren't even pay. I was like, I'm sick. I'm actually sick. That was $1,000 worth of decorations, 10 hours of their time, and 3 garbage bags full of stuff that on this boat is probably going to end up in the ocean. And I feel sick.
Well, when I read Ed Begley Jr.'s book about, because he's an environmentalist.
Didn't you have him on the show a long time ago?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I've heard this interview, not this one, but maybe the Meisterpiece. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. He's great.
I love that interview you did.
And he's super nice and everything, but he details how to do each of these things. But one way that he can convince people is he says, like, it does save you money too.
Right.
Like, it might not always save you time. That's often the trade-off.
Right.
But if you're on a budget, being environmentally conscious is usually helpful.
Yeah. And
so
we're
that
gonna,
can be good.
Yeah, we're going to see more of that stuff. You know, I took we had like oranges that were going bad in our refrigerators, so like chopped them up and dried them all out. And I'm going to make like an orange garland out of that. And like,
you know, I love it.
Right. So I just feel like this is, you know, as much as those homesteady kind of accounts are like, okay, we can't all be like doing that stuff. But I think that it's important to learn some tools to be less wasteful.
Yes, this is great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like I said, you're already good at it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And this is all because of ancient Egypt and the Sphinxes.
Right. That, you know what? You're not wrong. That is totally right.
They have a name for the, like, sort of like what the wind created. It's called a yardang.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go.
I saw something else that said the construction of most of their buildings created an airflow system that cooled everything by about 20 degrees. So it worked as air conditioning. And you see all these like towers that have these empty spots with these pokes sticking out. I'll find the images of these. And I think I saved it because I was like, I'll talk about in the next episode.
And on
this
NPR,
totally
they were saying that
worthy.
What's the thing in England? The Stonehenge.
Oh, yeah. Fucking
Stonehenge, they've realized creates a soundproof situation. So like they could talk and no one could hear or something. It was wild. I just heard that on NPR. I was like,
Wow, I get
I'm
goosebumps.
starting to
I
think
get
that
goosebumps.
they're either making all this shit up to impress us now,
Right.
or those guys were geniuses.
It was.
and gals.
I think it's one of those things where we were thinking too hard, and we just had to
Right.
what we should have done is we should have asked a group of 7-year-olds, "What do you think this is for?" And they would have been like,
Secret.
"So that they would have been like, so that nobody else can spy on you and secrets."
It's a fort.
Done. That's
You're
the
so
answer.
right.
That is totally the fucking answer. It's like when I would ask those brain teasers on the challenge, and the dumb people who have like
Yeah.
not a fucking thought
They
in their
always
head would
figured
get
it
it in
out.
2 seconds, and the other people would take weeks to, and they're like still don't get it because they're like, it's the simplest answer is this is like an Occam's razor situation, and we're overthinking it.
Can you believe how much learning we do?
Like so much. It's my
It's the
favorite
best.
thing in the whole world. And we could have
mean,
pressed record about a half an hour before we started
That
this
is so true.
podcast, and it would have also been fantastic. So
We covered a lot. I can't even wind it down because it would take us another hour. So
it would.
just
we got
maybe
Sue's reviews on many things.
lots of things.
We learned about
Robbie
ancient
Williams.
Egypt. Oh, right. Robbie Williams.
Sarah almost got in a fight at a comedy show.
Yup.
Love it.
I think it'd be worth it to have Eli. I'll get him on video
Yeah, do it.
describing what
Yeah.
it was like.
The vibe.
Because I think that would be more enjoyable.
We would all appreciate it.
Yes. Yes.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.